It is indeed the season of exposure. And apparently, even people in the grave are not being spared. I'm talking about the latest shell-shocking revelations linked to the third President of the Republic of Kenya, Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki. Ay. In my opinion, this is yet another reminder, a rather rude one I must say, that for those who want to understand Kenyan politics, the way to do it is to know what is happening in the backrooms and to be able to have a historical perspective. In other words, inside information and history, which is what this channel is all about. And that is why those who do not understand, or those who are not very familiar with this channel, have been puzzled, because we seem to contradict what is hitting the headlines until the story fully develops and we're made to look very clever, while in actual fact all that we have done is to stick to the filthy backrooms of the politics and to anchor ourselves very firmly in history. Then it is very difficult to go wrong. Now, unajua kizungu ilikuja na meli, so I feel I have to make myself clear. It is not that we are never wrong. We are wrong sometimes. But the advantage of following what is really going on, people making deals in the background, the advantage of that is that it is difficult, not impossible, to be wrong. Take the current controversy about Raila and Ruto warming up to each other as the perfect example. What appears to be evidence to prove it is mounting by the day. And of course the latest is the appointment of an Odinga into the foreign diplomatic team of the country called Kenya. Now it is very important to understand that at this point in time, a handshake greatly benefits Ruto. Or rather, the suggestion, the implication, the suspicion that there's a handshake really benefits Ruto. Why? Simple answer, because it is the only way he can weaken his formidable opponent, one Raila Amolo Odinga. And therefore, it is to be expected that the Ruto team will do everything in their power to make that narrative of a handshake, an understanding, a deal between them and Ruto look as believable as possible. Because when they succeed, they will have greatly weakened Raila. That is the harsh reality of political strategy. But for those who want to understand totally what is going on, my highly sensitive special report focuses on this issue. I believe you can see details on your screens right now if you're able to take full advantage of this. And this is probably the last time it will be available. Because the nature of this report is so sensitive that we decided it will be exposed only to a few people. So please rush and make that decision. For only Kenya shillings 19.99 or only $13, you can have this valuable information that will help you stop guessing wrongly about our politics and what's happening currently. But back to the third President of the Republic of Kenya, Kibaki, who has since passed on. Now, it is important to take note of the fact that in these exposés, these situations where people are exposed, something very small goes wrong, or somebody even a family, makes a wrong decision, and the consequences are devastating. Like in this case, for instance, the secret daughter of Mwai Kibaki, the secret family, if you like, approached the Kibakis and told them, we want to be included in the inheritance of the late, simply because his blood runs through the veins of our daughter. So can we settle this thing without having to take it to court? Well, the decision there was no. And that is why we are here today. And in my opinion, this information coming through the courts opens a can of worms that nobody would have wanted opened, in keeping the legacy of their beloved father, in this case Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki. It emerges that in the late 50s, when Mwai Kibaki was a student in the London School of Economics in the United Kingdom, he met this Kenyan lady, and according to court documents, this relationship thrived and continued even after Mwai Kibaki had returned back into the country. And in the year 1961, this lady gave birth to a girl, whose biological father she claims is Mwai Kibaki. Now, 1961 is also the year that Mwai Kibaki got married to Lucy Kibaki. What? There's one thing I've noticed in my long experience. Even ladies who are very poor in mathematics in class are very good at making these calculations. These 9-month calculations. And sometimes, us men are asked questions very innocently, not knowing that there's a super calculator at work. Okay, you met her when? Oh, that is nice. And then this child was born when? Oh, that is okay. Kumbe, already the arithmetic is over and a conclusion has been reached. Huyo mtoto si wake. What? And meanwhile, the poor man still can't get it. Even if he's a mathematics professor at some university, he still can't get it. But this semi-literate lady, who was not very good in maths, already amemaliza hiyo hesabu zamani kama jana. And so let me simplify the arithmetic here. What this information means is that the third president of the Republic of Kenya, at the time he was getting married, had more than one woman in his life. Let me just leave it at that. But there's more, much more. And indeed, in my opinion, the much more damaging revelations come in the documents concerning Kibaki's real wealth, tabled by this daughter, secret daughter of Mwai Kibaki. The documents suggest that Mwai Kibaki may have been a business partner of Bwana Chris Kirubi. Now, please allow me to take you a little back in history, because there's a lot of misconception about how Chris Kirubi got rich. Okay, so let's clear there about that one. In the 70s, something very crazy happened in the world coffee market, that caused a huge shortage and in the end made many Kenyan families who were at the right place at the right time filthy rich. This was in the early mid 1970s, and Bwana Chris Kirubi at the time was a manager in a parastatal called Kenatco. It was a Kenya National taxi company service owned by the government. And Bwana Kirubi organized on weekends for all the trucks of Kenatco, the huge lorries and trucks, all of them to head to the border, to a town called Kshs, which was the main place where these deals of coffee were being done. Coffee being smuggled in from neighboring Uganda and transported all the way to Mombasa, where ships were waiting and paying cash for this coffee cargo. The crazy story is told about how a bank manager with the then Barclays Bank did the unthinkable. They went into the safe of the bank, removed all the cash to be used to purchase a large consignment of coffee at Kshs. But the trucks delayed in arriving in Mombasa, and so by the time the bank opened on Monday and the safe needed to be accessed, the lorries had not arrived, and therefore the cash was not available to replace the cash that had been borrowed in quotes from the bank safe. Well, that particular bank manager ended up being fired, but he was not sad, because from that single deal his life changed. He was already a multi-millionaire in the 70s. And that is how Chris Kirubi launched his career to become the most famous business person Kenya has ever known. Very few people have gone into his history to discover exactly how he started. And of course he was a very smart man. And this information was always kept away from the public. So younger Kenyans have never had any idea. And so this was the man who, according to these court documents, was a partner to Mwai Kibaki in the ownership of a prestigious building bang in the middle of Nairobi CBD, that back in the day only used to house foreign embassies and very rich corporations, especially from America, and the rent was super high. That building. Court papers now tell us Kibaki was a partner all along. What? And these latest revelations bring back another super fascinating story that unfolded in the 70s. When Mwai Kibaki was the finance minister, finance cabinet minister. And in those days, there was price control. And so the budget was key. Because during the budget, in those days of price control by the government, prices of certain items went up, while others went down. Now in this particular budget, the price of beer was scheduled to go up by about 30 cents. Okay? In those days, a lot of money. Because in those days, 1 Kenya shilling used to exchange to the US dollar for only 7 Kenya shillings. 7 Kenya shillings, you get a US dollar. What? True story. And a man called Njenga Karume, who was involved in the distribution of beer in the country, he was actually the largest beer distributor in the entire country, got this information of the coming increase in beer prices. So what did he do? He used a warehouse he had along Ronald Gala Street in those days to buy up as much beer as he could find from Kenya breweries. He even borrowed money from the bank, took a huge overdraft, and filled his warehouse with crates of beer. And for a few days leading up to the budget, he was not selling a single crate of beer. He was hoarding. And on the day following the budget, new prices usually took effect at midnight on the same day. So on the following day, Njenga Karume released all those thousands, hundreds of thousands of crates of beer. All of them purchased at the old price, but now selling at the brand new price, plus 30 cents. It is said that the man made a fortune from that single deal. Now, Njenga Karume financed Mwai Kibaki's political party, DP, Democratic Party, for many years. And it was always rumored that the two were also business partners. It was just rumored. Nobody came up with the proof. But in view of these new revelations via court papers, historians and biographers of Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki will be forced to go back to the drawing boards and rewrite what they had written earlier. Season of exposure. Now, those who knew Mwai Kibaki well also know that he was a polygamist. He had more than one wife, something which is quite rare amongst the Agikuyu, the house of Mumbi. And voters in Othaya are very sure of this information, because during all campaigns, Kibaki was accompanied by his wife, his other wife, Mary Wambui. His official wife, Lucy Kibaki, was never seen on the campaign trail. A daughter of Mwai Kibaki and this Mary Wambui burst into the limelight. I believe her name is Wangui. She burst into the limelight during the Artur brothers controversy. Older Kenyans will remember the two Artur brothers were in the country for reasons that were never made very clear. And indeed, one of them participated in the infamous raid on standard newspapers, where property, newspapers were banned during the Kibaki presidency. And the only official response to that was from a man called John Michuki, who was in Kibaki's cabinet, who said the following: "When you rattle a snake, you expect to be rattled." What? Hii Kenya yetu. Anyway, Wangui announced to the whole world that one of the Artur brothers was the love of her life. And it is believed that the two currently still live together outside Kenya as a married couple. Indeed, the photograph you see on your screens right now was sent to the nation by the couple a few years ago, to tell Kenyans they were still together and they were still very happy in some foreign country. It'll of course be very interesting to see how this particular case in court concludes. But meanwhile, if you want more details about the revelations, I refer you once again to my blog, kumekucha.blogspot.com, where there are a lot of details about the explosive revelations in the court papers presented by this secret daughter of the third president of the Republic of Kenya. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.